Hello, we're going to do our Wilmeth loop today in rush hour traffic. Let's get started. This is FSD 14.2.1, and this is an AI4 Model 3. Whoa. Taking a little different route because of the traffic. Standard mode as usual. Get some interactions on the highway. Starting to feel like 14.2.2 is due with the cadence of these releases. 14.2.1's been out for a while. No, it hasn't gone completely wide to everyone, but it's gone to a lot of people. It's a great build. But I have a feeling we're going to see a couple more 14.2 point releases before we see 14.3. Yeah, this route is completely different. It's actually going to go by our endpoint, the supercharger that we end this loop with. Last time I went by that Buc-ee's, with it routed somewhere completely different, it just decided to turn in and go to the supercharger without even that being a destination on my route at all. Those are some of those odd map things that happen on the 14.2 series, but it seems like the point release of 14.2.1 got rid of a lot of them. With 14.2.1, the issues with the map or the detachment from the map data, most of it's actually positive. It actually will save you time. But every now and then there's a miss. You can tell that the reasoning has kind of started with 14.2. What I mean by the reasoning is it's taken an input. You can just tell from when you've used all these models so many miles, that 14.2 is different, and it's looking at the map differently, not as the law of where it needs to be, but as a guide, and using the cameras to kind of find its way. And I believe 14.2 is the first build that does this. And from what I've seen from Elon on X, it sounds like 14.3 will be the final piece that'll make it more reliable. Hopefully fix some of the parking errors. Parking is, I don't know, 50-50, it's probably 60-40 positive, but doesn't always quite get that right. We'll see how it does at the 7-Eleven. That's our first stop. Just going to do some fast forwarding here through this traffic unless something interesting happens. Okay, that traffic didn't last too long. Really beautiful sunset. Really nice. As far as the highway behavior of 14, there's all these cars on the road, and it knows that everyone's going the same speed. It doesn't just automatically try to get over to the left, and I love that about this build. Version 13, and I feel, really just version 13.2 that we had for months. It really liked to, if it wasn't going up to the speed limit, it felt like it had to get left. But version 14 can tell that it's not going to get anywhere any faster if it goes to the left lane. We're all going this kind of lower speed because of thick traffic, and you see this during rush hour quite a bit. Everyone that's on the road right now is generally on the road maybe every day, but several days a week, so they all understand what it's about. On the weekend, you never see this. You always see two people going super fast on the left, super slow on the right. Generally, there's accidents like crazy because of that. All these people are understanding that there's no reason to weave in and out of cars and go really fast, and there's all these people on the road. And now FSD is starting to understand that as well, which is very exciting. It's part of the sentience that's not really talked about too much, I don't think, from a lot of people, but the highway behavior is, there's lots of nuance to V14. Red light runner there. Creeping forward. Very nice. Also get out in the morning sometime. The traffic patterns are different, but still during weekday rush hour traffic. Even though we're outside of Dallas, there's lots of commuters. And sure, the traffic generally would be heavier leaving the Dallas area. There's still a lot of traffic going both ways during rush hour for whatever reason. See all these cars right here. You would think the traffic would be on this side coming from the highway going home, but instead it's just going the other direction. See how the camera acts. Definitely playing around with different settings, trying to get a good setting for the daytime, a good setting for night. Considering its sun's going down, had to kind of guess on this one. It's a nice Model Y there. Thought it was a performance Model Y, but I think it was just had some accessories on it, some performance accessories. I don't think they've delivered any of those just yet. The new Junipers. Sunset's just perfect. Sky. think the turn signals, I mentioned this last time, but I don't see anyone using turn signals on a circle. Circles are fairly new to me, but FSD really likes to use them. Both of them, left and right. Circle. This is the one that on the other side of it's our destination. A little nervous for this one because last time it tried to change lanes in the middle of the circle with no turn signal. And now with traffic, nope, it did the same thing. Maybe that's what you're supposed to do. Did it safely. There was an opening there where there was no lines and it just moves over really quickly. Okay, so I have the parking lot set here. What I really do not want it to do is to try to back in, and I'll probably stop it if it does because there's just too much going on here to back in. Getting kind of hairy here, doesn't really know what to do. Just kind of circling around. I'm gonna try again. Kind of awkward being a Tesla at a gas station. Doesn't know what to do here. Just want to go around the corner. This is actually really good behavior though. It's just trying to figure out what it needs to do. And actually it's pretty impressive because it found a good area to park, which is over here on the side where there's less traffic. Although that was very... As it was backing up to straighten up, a car came across from behind. Perhaps you saw it there in the visualization. And they didn't stop, and the car had the confidence just to keep going. Parked next to another Tesla here at the gas station. All right, we'll go to our next destination. So far, so good. Sunset still. Wow. Don't usually see stuff like that. That's why I keep mentioning it. Every time I see it, it's beautiful. I'm not usually out this early. route again. I would have preferred the other route. It would have gone through all the retail. Let's see if I can change it. Yeah, I can make it go back. Let's see what happens here. Preconditioning there for our final destination later on. Yeah, I don't know what that car is doing. They stopped in their turn lane because they thought we were turning into that neighborhood, I guess. They're still stopped back there. I guess they were just pulling over. So we're going back through that circle again, but this time we're going to go past the 7-Eleven to the left. Does so good on these. I didn't even really see that person wanted to go. I was really focused on the traffic coming around. Okay, this time it stayed on the inside lane, but it acted like it didn't want to. This must be just a real tight circle. And it actually feels more natural to go to the outside lane there than the inside lane, so it just takes that path. I think when the line goes away there in the middle. But that time there was a truck coming in from the other side, so it didn't do it because it saw that other vehicle. different route this time and didn't get to see all the big retail areas. Didn't get to enter this Walmart the other way, which has the speed bumps. Interesting. There's a little Mitsubishi. It didn't have its lights on. I guess there's still cars out there that don't have auto headlights. But instead of flashing his brights to signal to me to drive or to go ahead and go, he some sort of pattern with his parking lights. I've never seen that before. See new things on these drives. Alright. So we arrived at Walmart. I do not like backing in at grocery stores. So it's a pass because it got us here. But if I was going into it's a Walmart grocery store, I'd be coming out with a basket full of groceries, and then I would have to fill the front up with about 3 bags and then walk the rest of them back to the trunk that may not open depending on the person behind me. So not a big fan of backing into grocery stores. We're going to continue driving. Nope. Family, or a gentleman and his daughter in a cart handled that very nicely. Nice little unprotected left up here. Oh, with some pressure, there'll be a car behind us as well. I've been known to not have much patience on these. Less patience than the car has. So we'll see if I can. Looks like it's going to be a pretty easy one. Yeah. Yeah, it should go right now. But it's not. Okay. Lots of cars. Looks like the end might be a gap coming up. I don't think it's going to take it. No. There's another gap coming up. No, it's going to wait till this car, and then there's a large area, but then there's none coming the other way. This is difficult. I want to command it to turn right because I just don't have the patience for this. And This is why I do highway drives, because I don't have the patience for this, to hold people up, because the car, there are 2 or 3 opportunities where I could have shot that gap, but so what I did there is I changed the turn signal to the left, which is what I actually probably would, that's what I would have done if it were me and I couldn't get to the left, although I did see some opportunities early on. So I changed it to the right. Well, I might have said left. So I changed the turn signal to the right and gave it just a little accelerator tap, and that kind of confirmed it. Kind of creeped out, and then it turned right. So while not a disengagement, it was definitely call it an intervention, but it was an encouragement, I guess. That's the kind of reasoning I'd like to see the car do, because you can see it easily rerouted a different route, and it may not be straight. You can see these roads are turned, but it's basically a grid pattern. It can just go to the next road, and it doesn't have to worry about trying to deal with a high-speed, unprotected left. But again, maybe I'll learn the patience to just let it do its thing. I just, I think about the people behind me. Maybe they've been working for 10, 12 hours and they just want to get home, see their kids. If I can I think I overthink everything, but if there's no one behind me, I just would have sat there. I'm in an Uber, I feel the same way. I just can't do anything about it. I'm not a backseat driver, but when you have the controls right here in front of your feet and your hands, you can make a difference, make a change. It'll help get you moving. It's really hard not to. With the robotaxi service, whenever they attach Grok to the actual system, where you can command to do things through Grok, you could tell the car, hey, just turn right here. And it should be able to do it. That shouldn't be outside the realm of possibility of where they're headed. Obviously, that doesn't happen now, but I think more likely there will be a reasoning layer where it just sees that situation and says, "Look, I'm just going to turn right. This is not going to happen." Go up and do a U-turn or take a different street like it did. get back up on the highway. Although I think because it took this route, we'll be on the service road for a little while. I'm a little surprised it didn't try to get into the right lane there. I think if it was in Mad Max, it probably would have, to go past all this traffic. So many people turn left at this light that there are 3 left turn lanes, 2 turn only, and this one's straight and turn left. But then that right one's straight. So if you go in that right lane, you can just go. Car's honking. They're honking at me. I was just sitting there. Whoa. On the left, there might have been a collision. I think. Yeah, we just witnessed an accident. I think I saw that there's a van up here on the left. I think he tried to go straight from the middle. Tried to go straight from the outside left turn only lane, maybe not realizing that there's a third lane, this one, that is an option turn left straight. And so the person that was turning left ran right into him. They're still sitting there. Fender bender type of wreck, nothing major, but hopefully they can get pulled off the road here. At least from what I can tell, it's just a little fender bender. I hate to say that, and there was something else going on that I didn't see. I don't think I've witnessed an accident in maybe a year, but here we are. This is exactly why we do these videos. Exactly why Tesla's developing this software, is to help prevent some of these accidents. Most of the accidents. You hear them talking about how it's going to save lots of lives, but it's also just going to save lots of people's time and money on little things like that. Yeah, it looks like they're finally clearing out. Well, there you go. Got past it. bag come out in front of the car and see if we would have done anything more dramatic. At some point, it has to be able to recognize, and maybe it does, but it has to be able to recognize a grocery bag like that as not something to concern itself with, because there's just too many of them. Too many scenarios out there with little grocery bags floating around. Bit of traffic up here. This is good. It's good that it's getting into this lane. So even though we have 2 miles, I'd much rather get over early when there's traffic, especially in standard. Mad Max, you're on your own, but standard, I like to see it drive conservatively. Video. Much longer than doing the late night loop where it's just basically no one on the road. This is very similar to how I would have driven in these scenarios. Again, when you're in this traffic, you're much better off just going with traffic instead of trying to weave in and out or go to the left lane and go fast, because you're not going to get anywhere. It's like a bee, you know, it's just best to just go in a straight line, drive straight, not sideways, and go back and forth. All to save a couple of seconds. So right up here is where it's gonna, we're going 65, so it's just accelerating because of the traffic slowdown from 70 mile an hour speed limit. We're going 65 right now because the speed limit's 70 in standard mode. Somewhere up here it clicks to 30. Bang, there it is. Look at that. I did my night drive yesterday and complained that I complained because it had suddenly braked down to 35 miles an hour. But it also got into that lane right there on the right, and it didn't do that this time either. So it did not lower its speed down to 35, it just held the speed high. I think that must be because it saw a bunch of cars on the road. So what that tells me is that it's only going to do the weird behaviors if it knows it's safe to do them, which is an excellent sign. Because that's what I was worried about, is going down to 35 miles an hour. So that it did not like that U-turn, so it just turned right into the Buc-ee's, which is actually how I usually would do it as well. Just there was too much traffic there. See if I can find the supercharger. Well, folks, it found a charger, but it's a Mercedes charger. It's backing into the Mercedes charger, not the supercharger. I don't even know what a Mercedes charger is. I assume it's labeled Mercedes, but probably just a normal charger that you can pay. Interesting, yeah, the superchargers are over there. Well, anyway, thank you for joining me. Had a great drive. No disengagements. We had the one situation, that unprotected left, where I commanded it to turn right, gave it a little accelerator tap. Sometimes when you just command a turn signal, it'll ignore you, but you give it an accelerator tap afterward, it takes you a little more seriously. And so that's why I did that, but I did not disengage. And then it rerouted just fine. We saw that accident right after describing to you there's 3 turn lanes there, and somebody, sure enough, in that middle lane tried to go straight, and it caused an accident. At least that's what it looked like to me. Doesn't look like anybody was hurt. They were getting out of the way by the time we left. But anyway, thank you for joining me. Take care.